Okay. So remember, you have created, or are supposed to have created, your own little formula sheet. And right now, there should be three formulas on your sheet. And here they are. However, having the formulas doesn't do you any good. Oh, Karis, when did you come in? Having the formulas doesn't do you any good if you don't know what they're for. So, arithmetic or geometric? Arithmetic. Geometric. And this is our brand new one that we're going to use today. And it is also arithmetic. What does the S stand for? Sum. And this is the one, if you want to add them up, this is the one you're going to use, right? So, let's look at the problem. This is on page 64, number 1A. It says, add these up. Now, first of all, is it arithmetic or geometric? How are we getting from term to term? What are you doing? Adding 5. And if we're adding 5, it's arithmetic. So this has a difference of 1. And it stops at 17. Okay. So I want to add those up, and I don't want to do it by adding up individual numbers. I want to practice with my formula. So how many am I adding up? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them? So the sum of 8. N is how many you're adding up. Which ones do you want to add up? I want to add up the first 8. So what does the formula say? It's arithmetic. That's this formula right here. So what does the formula say to do? S sub 8 equals 8 over 2. Negative 18, because this stands for first term. What does that stand for? A sub 8, which would be the 8th term. What's the 8th term? 17, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's the 8th one. So, there we go. There's the setup. So 8 over 2 is 4. Negative 18 plus 17 is negative 1. It looks like the sum of these would be just negative 4. Now, again, on quiz day or test day, if you want to just add all those up, that's fine. But I wouldn't count on doing that if there were 800 of them, right? With the formula, you can add up however many in a snap. You're not going to have time to add up all. All right, let's look at B. Here we go. Again, we're practicing our formula. This isn't a very big sequence, but we're practicing our formulas. All right, take a look at it. What's the first thing you got to decide? Arithmetic or geometric, right? Because if you don't, you got to know that in order to figure out which formula to use. All right, so what did you say about this one? What kind is this one? This one's geometric with a ratio of 3. Uh-oh, I need to add them up, and it's geometric. Wait a minute, you guys. Can I use this formula? No, so I need another one. So here's our 4. If you are going to add up the terms of a geometric, S means add, sum. We're going to add them up and it's geometric. This is your formula. Now, it looks complicated, but remember, you don't need to memorize it. you just need to know what all this stands for. So what's A sub 1? Always A sub 1 means first term. R is the common ratio, and N matches that guy right there. So S sub N, how many am I adding up? 5. The first one is -2. The ratio is 3 to the 5th over 1 minus the ratio. So just look at it, and do you see that we have plugged everything in the right spots? Does that look okay?
How do you know N is 5?
N is how many I'm adding up, or how many terms I have. Now, be careful when you type this in. I always do my denominator first. So 1 minus 3, and I just say -2. I always do that first. I just write a plain number down there. Okay. Now, will that negative cancel with that negative? Yes. Yes. So we go ahead and make those pluses. Now I'm ready to type it in. -2 plus 2 times 3 to the 5th equals, I'm gonna hit equals, and then divided by -2. Tell me you got -242. If you didn't, we're gonna type it in again. There's a lot going on in this formula, so type in the numerator exactly the way you wrote it, and hit equals. And then divided by, in this case, -2. You don't need that plus. So -2 plus 2 times 3 to the 5th equals divided by -2. Everybody getting -242? All right. Let's look at the next one. Arithmetic or geometric? With a common difference of 4. So there's my formula. This is the formula. I'm gonna use. These two are arithmetic formulas. How do I know I'm using this one? Because I am adding them up. This is the formula that adds them up. Okay. What do I not know that I really need to know? How many terms there are. There's a big gap here in the middle. And I don't know how many there are in there. Now, could I figure it out? Absolutely. I could fill in this big gap. But again, on testing kids, you don't get extra time because you're doing everything out the long way. We have to use our formulas. So, I'm going to step back for a minute. And I don't know what n is. That's the whole problem. but I know the last term, whatever n is, a sub 18, a sub 29, whatever it is, I know it's 53. I know the first term is 5. I know the difference is 4. So in this formula right here, I know my nth term. I don't know what n is, but I know the last term, the first term, and the common difference. Can this formula then help me figure out n? Yeah. So let's subtract 5. So 48. Now you can do this a couple different ways. You could distribute, or you can just divide by 4. So n minus 1 equals 12. And how many terms do I have? 13. Now, I'm not done. What did I just do? I just figured out what that is. So now I can say S sub 13, it'll be 13 over 2 times the first term plus the 13th term. This happens a lot, unfortunately. You want to use this formula, but you don't have the right information. And when you don't have the right information for this formula, you got to go back and do something with that one, and then that one will give you what you need. Those are often two-step problems, very often. Okay, so what's my answer? I don't know, I just type that in. So it's 13 halves times 58, whatever that is. 377. Again, I've done this a long time. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, I'm going to skip all that rigmarole. I'm just going to figure out what these numbers are. I'm adding 4. I'm just going to keep adding 4, and then I'll just add them all up in the calculator. That will not work on testing. It will absolutely work. You can do that, but not if you have a time restriction. You can't. If we had 100 terms up here, that would take forever. So you've just got to practice your formulas, and we'll practice. We got lots of practice problems. We'll practice. All right, anybody have a question about that? Because I can erase it for the next one. All right, let's look at the next one. Obviously, we're adding. So we're going to use one of these two formulas right here, because these are the add formulas, sum. Add them up. What kind of sequence do we have? What am I multiplying by? 5. I think you're right. I think I'm multiplying by 5. 5 times 0.08 times another 5. Yep, we're multiplying by 5. Okay, which formula do I use? This one? Right here? Oh, shoot. Do I have the same problem I had a minute ago? I do not know how many terms there are. I do know that the last one is 1250. The first one is 0.08. And the ratio is 5. solving that? What would you suggest? You did a whole bunch of these back in chapter 3.
Divide by
Divide by 0.08, so 1250 divided by 0.08, 15,625 equals 5 to the n minus first. So 5 to some power equals that number. Would you agree? I could use logarithms to solve this, but I think that I can have you do it a little quicker than that. I'm just gonna try something. What do you think? 5 to what power? Give me a number. What? 7? 5 to the 7. So 5 to the 7 is actually 78,125. So 7's too big. So 5 to the 6 is the number I want. So this guy right here is 5 to the 6th. So what does n have to be? 7. Very good. Since this exponent is n minus 1, 6 is n minus 1, so n has to be 7. If you would prefer to take the logarithm of both sides, like you did back in chapter 3, you absolutely can do that. All right, so here we go. We're adding up 7 terms. Our formula says take the first one minus the first one times the ratio to the nth over 1 minus the ratio. So I'm using this formula right here because it's geometric and I'm adding. And I plug in all my numbers. Does everybody agree that I've got the numbers in the right spots? That good? Okay. Let's type it in. Don't be alarmed if you get a decimal. Remember, this problem has decimals in it, right? So it's okay if you get a decimal. And I got a decimal. I got 1562.48. What about you? Yes. If you didn't, try it again. This is what you're plugging in. Type in the numerator, it equals, and then divided by -4.
If you're stuck, you have time. Can you just add them?
Absolutely can. I've said that over and over again, children. What is my concern about that? If it's really big and there's a lot of them, you're not gonna have extra time. And then on test day, you're gonna say, but Mrs. Ford, I'm not done. And I'm gonna say, too bad, so sad.
I'll just like quick because it won't play.
Yes, if there's only 5 of them, or whatever, 6 of them, 7, count. Okay? You need to know how to use the formulas. Not that you have to every single time, but you're going to have to do it some of the time. Or you won't be able to get it done. Okay? By the way, who, besides Kate, was involved in what? Anybody else? Can you stand? Were you on stage?
No.
You were behind. Good. Anyway, it was awesome. It was awesome.
Did you see it last night?
I did. When else would I have seen it? All right, here we go. Number 2, part 2. Find the sum of the first 90 terms. So here's an example of when it would be absolutely not a good idea to try to do this one without formulas, because there's 90 of them. Could you do it? Absolutely. But it's not a good idea because it takes up too much time. So, find the sum. So I'm using one of these two formulas, right here. Well, how do I decide which formula to use? What kind of sequence I have, right? So what kind of sequence do I have? The arithmetic, and the common difference is 3. So I am using this formula right here. So S sub n, here's my formula. Here's my Now they tell me they want me to add up 90 of them. So n is 90. So that end, they're all the same. So S sub 90 is 90 over 2 times, what's this? That is the first term, which is -2. What's supposed to go there? Not 90. A sub 90. In other words, the 90th term, if you kept this thing going, what would be the 90th term? So once again, that's my formula, but I'm missing a piece of information. So what did I tell you a minute ago? What do you do if you're missing a piece of information? Go back to the other arithmetic formula. Will that formula give me the 90th term? A sub 90. Well, it's the first term plus the difference times n minus 1. Oh yeah, I can figure that out. This is the formula that's going to give me the answer to the question. But I can't finish this formula because I don't know the 90th term. So I use that formula to find the 90th term. First term plus common difference times 90 minus 1. I got 265 for that. Is that what you got? 265 is not the answer to the question. What do I need to do now? I need to take that 265 and put it right here. So 90 over 2 times -2 plus 265. I didn't know the 90th term. They didn't take it out far enough. So I figured it out using the old formula. This gives me a sub 90. So when I figured that out, then I could plug that in and get the actual answer to the problem, which is, oh shoot, crap. Did you get 11,835? All right, one more, and then believe it or not, we're gonna be done for the day.
The baby was in hibernation. Those are levies, regional qualifiers.
All right, directions say we want to add them up. So I'm going to be using one of these. It's geometric. What's the ratio? 2. Aren't I just multiplying by 2? How many, this is my formula, how many am I adding up? What's n? N is 12. So what's the formula say? S sub 12 will be 0.1 minus 0.1 times 2 to the 12 over 1 minus 2. Wow, I got everything I need. I can just go to my calculator and type it in. I'm gonna make that -1 to start with. And then I'm just gonna type it in. Did you get 409.5?
Raise the roaster, please.
Can you wait 3 minutes?
Oh,
The period's over in 3 minutes. Okay. Everybody okay with this? Getting this on your calculator? Alright, that's all, we're not gonna start the next section yet because it's a new formula. But I want you real quick, as a matter of review, I want you to give me some limits. What is the limit of this problem? What's the answer? Zero. Why is it 0? Because that number is less than 1. What about this one? What's the limit of that one? 4 over 3. There it is, right there it is. 4 over 3. What is the limit of this one?
One.
It's divergent. Why is it divergent? Because that guy right there is bigger than 1. When it was less than 1, the limit was 0. When it's bigger than 1, there is no limit. All right, another one. What about that guy? Divergent. Because why? There's no n on the bottom to balance it out. Very good. All right, one more. You guys, I hope you're paying attention. You might have to do this sometime soon in the future. What about that one? I heard somebody say 0 and that person was right. The reason the limit is 0 is because there's no n squared on the top. So you basically have 0 over 1, which is 0. All right, have a great day. Crystal, come here a second. Is that a middle? So it's Vikia? Vikia. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
See ya.
I see those muscles, Miss Ford.
What muscles? Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Good morning again.
Yep.
Hello.
Can't wait to do some more multiple choice.
I know. Yeah, it's just our life right now.
Which day is ours on the second week? Day
Ours is
10?
the 12th.
Okay.
I guess that's the second week. 8 a.m. with a morning test, which makes me very happy. And we're back be up against something bad. I can't remember, somebody told me. When is the physics exam?
I don't know.
Okay. It might be physics exam, but I can't remember. I remember thinking when they told me what was in the afternoon, I'm like, I'm glad I went morning. I can't remember what it was.
Morning, Mrs. Ford.
Good morning. Lord, I did the
I need to go down and.
I do as well.
Yeah, sorry.
Yes, that's all right. Hey, good job last night, William.
Miss Ford.
That was really good. Really, really entertaining. Who else did you say?
Zach.
And really, I did the stage, I saw Avery on stage, good job last night. Really well, didn't you think?
Yeah.
Was Avery?
Do you know when we get called out? I saw Avery.
Well, I might have an email about it.
But I was, as soon as I said, I was like,
You're speaking.
I'm doing the petitions or whatever.
Oh.